The invitation was a whisper, a gilded card slipped into the hands of those deemed worthy. It promised a night beyond comprehension, a glimpse behind the velvet rope into a world where rules were suggestions and desires were currency. These were Diddy's parties, legendary gatherings shrouded in secrecy, fueled by extravagance, and whispered about in hushed tones throughout Hollywood and beyond. But the champagne flutes and dazzling lights masked a darker truth, a predatory undercurrent that now, years later, is crashing to the surface, threatening to drown an empire built on secrets and silence. Imagine the scene, a sprawling mansion pulsating with music, the air thick with the scent of expensive perfume and something else. Something chemical, something unsettling. Celebrities mingle with aspiring artists. Athletes rub shoulders with politicians, all drawn to the magnetic pull of Sean Combs, the self-proclaimed king of hip-hop. He moves through the crowd like a conductor, orchestrating the night with a knowing smile, his eyes missing nothing. He's the puppet master, and everyone here, knowingly or unknowingly, is dancing to his tune. But the music isn't the only thing being recorded. Hidden cameras, strategically placed, capture every indiscretion, every moment of vulnerability, every compromising encounter. These aren't just parties, they're strategic operations meticulously designed to create leverage, to ensnare, to control. And at the center of it all, Diddy, the spider spinning his web, waiting for his prey to get caught. The allegations are explosive, painting a picture of a man who used his power and influence to manipulate and exploit those around him. Lawsuits detail environments where guests were plied with substances, encouraged into compromising situations, and unknowingly filmed. Former associates speak of non-disclosure agreements so ironclad they silenced anyone who dared to speak out. And then there's the infamous baby oil. Hundreds of bottles seized during the federal raids on Diddy's properties, a detail that 50 Cent, Diddy's longtime rival, seized upon with characteristic glee. "Costco don't sell that much baby oil," he quipped, the implication hanging heavy in the air. What was it really for? And what role did it play in these alleged freak-offs? One name that keeps surfacing in this unfolding saga is Burna Boy, the Nigerian superstar whose meteoric rise to fame coincided with a close association with Diddy. In 2020, Burna Boy released his album Twice as Tall, with Diddy serving as executive producer. The following year, the album won a Grammy. Coincidence? Perhaps. But the rumors persist, fueled by cryptic comments and a growing distance between the two men. Remember Speed Darling, the Nigerian artist who dared to ask the question everyone else was afraid to voice: how much oil did Diddy use on you before they gave you that Grammy? It was a crude question, but it cut to the heart of the matter, raising uncomfortable questions about the nature of their relationship and the price of success in Diddy's world. The silence from Burna Boy speaks volumes. Once effusive in his praise for Diddy, he now avoids the topic altogether. Has he finally realized the true cost of his association with the mogul? Is he trying to distance himself from the scandal before it engulfs him completely? The answer, like so much else in this story, remains shrouded in mystery. But one thing is clear: the walls are closing in, and the secrets that Diddy so carefully guarded are beginning to unravel. The Netflix documentary, with 50 Cent as an executive producer, promises to expose even more. Never-before-seen footage of Diddy strategizing with his lawyer, grappling with the possibility of losing, offers a rare glimpse of vulnerability from a man who has always projected an image of invincibility. He knows the game is changing, that the old rules no longer apply. The reckoning is here, and the consequences could be devastating. The question isn't just about Diddy's potential downfall. It's about the ecosystem that allowed him to thrive for so long. How many others knew what was happening and chose to look the other way? How many careers were sacrificed on the altar of Diddy's ambition? The answers, when they finally emerge, are likely to be far more disturbing than anything we've heard so far. Consider the chilling testimony of Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend, who accused him of years of abuse and coercion. Her lawsuit, which was settled with shocking speed, painted a picture of a young woman trapped in a web of control, her career and personal life dictated by Diddy's whims. She described being plied with substances, physically assaulted, and emotionally manipulated. Her story is a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play in the entertainment industry, where ambition can be exploited and vulnerability can be weaponized. Then there are the contracts, those seemingly innocuous documents that held so much power. Industry insiders describe agreements that went far beyond standard royalty splits, allegedly granting Diddy veto power over creative decisions, touring schedules, and even public statements. For an artist like Burna Boy, fiercely independent and proud of his Nigerian heritage, such control would be anathema. Was he aware of the strings attached to Diddy's support? Did he chafe under the weight of those expectations? We may never know the full story, but the rumors suggest a growing tension, a battle for autonomy that ultimately led to a quiet parting of ways. And what about the freak-off parties themselves? Were they simply consensual gatherings of adults indulging in hedonistic pleasures, or were they something far more sinister? The legal filings suggest the latter, alleging that guests were often unaware they were being filmed, that substances were used to cloud their judgment, and that the entire operation was designed to create leverage. If true, then Diddy's parties weren't just about entertainment. They were about control, blackmail, and the systematic exploitation of power. 50 Cent, never one to mince words, has framed the scandal as a moral reckoning for the hip-hop industry. He sees Diddy's alleged behavior as a betrayal of the community, a stain on the legacy of a genre that has always prided itself on authenticity and rebellion. His involvement in the Netflix documentary is a clear statement. He refuses to let Diddy's actions be swept under the rug. He wants to expose the truth, hold the perpetrators accountable, and send a message that this kind of behavior will no longer be tolerated. But the road to justice is likely to be long and arduous. Diddy's legal team is already fighting back, dismissing the allegations as baseless and accusing Netflix of corporate retaliation. They claim the documentary is a biased hit piece, fueled by 50 Cent's personal vendetta. But the evidence continues to mount, and the chorus of voices speaking out against Diddy is growing louder. The tide is turning, and even the king of hip-hop may find it impossible to hold back the flood. The real question now is, who will be next to fall? Which A-listers, politicians, and power brokers are secretly sweating, knowing that their secrets may soon be exposed? The dominoes have started to fall, and the aftershocks are likely to be felt for years to come. This isn't just about Diddy's downfall. It's about a systemic reckoning, a long overdue dismantling of a culture of silence and impunity. The truth is coming, and it's going to be explosive. The lawsuits are just the beginning. The real battle will be fought in the court of public opinion, where reputations are made and destroyed with a single tweet, a leaked video, a whispered rumor. And in this arena, Diddy is facing his toughest opponent yet, the truth. Consider the sheer volume of allegations, the consistency of the narratives, the growing number of voices willing to speak out against him. It's a tidal wave of accusations, and even a man as powerful as Diddy may find it impossible to withstand the force. The image he has so carefully cultivated, the persona of the benevolent mogul, the champion of black artists, is crumbling before our eyes, revealing something far more sinister beneath the surface. And what about the money? Follow the money, they say, and you'll find the truth. Diddy's financial empire is vast and complex, with tentacles reaching into music, fashion, film, and spirits. But how much of that wealth was built on exploitation? How many artists were cheated out of their royalties? How many businesses were leveraged with threats and intimidation? The answers to those questions could have far-reaching consequences, not just for Diddy, but for the entire industry. The speed with which Cassie Ventura's lawsuit was settled raises serious questions. Why was Diddy so eager to make the problem go away? What was he trying to hide? The settlement may have bought her silence, but it hasn't silenced the rumor, the whisper, the growing sense that something deeply wrong was happening behind the scenes. The focus on GHB is chilling, if proven. The strategic use of a date rape drug turns Diddy's parties from decadent to depraved. It speaks to a calculated effort to disinhibit and control guests. The implications are staggering. How many victims are there who don't even remember what happened? How many careers were derailed because of choices made under chemical influence? Gene Deal's account of rituals adds another layer of disturbing detail. The dove, the secrecy, the unspoken power dynamic. It suggests a world far removed from the glitz and glamour of the red carpet, a world of hidden agendas and dark practices. Is it simply the eccentricity of a powerful man, or something more calculated? Then there's the issue of loyalty. Diddy demanded absolute fealty from those in his orbit. Disloyalty was met with swift and brutal consequences. Careers derailed, opportunities withdrawn, reputations tarnished. But what happens when the fear of Diddy is replaced by the fear of being complicit? What happens when the code of silence is broken? Burna Boy's subtle rebellion could be a turning point. His cryptic social media posts, his growing distance from Diddy, suggest a shift in allegiance. Is he finally ready to speak his truth? Or is he simply trying to protect himself from the fallout? Either way, his actions send a powerful message. The king is losing his grip. 50 Cent's role in all of this cannot be overstated. Their rivalry is legendary, but his pursuit of Diddy feels different. It's not just about settling scores, it's about exposing a system of abuse and exploitation. He's using his platform to amplify the voices of the victims, to challenge the industry's code of silence, and to demand accountability. He's not just a rival, he's a crusader. The documentary is a game changer. The never-before-seen footage, the insider accounts, the sheer volume of evidence, it all adds up to a damning indictment of Diddy's behavior. His legal team can try to discredit it, but the truth has a way of seeping through. The documentary is not just a story about Diddy, it's a story about power, abuse, and the price of silence. The investigation is ongoing. More witnesses are coming forward. More evidence is being uncovered. The walls are closing in. Diddy may have built an empire on secrets and lies, but the truth is finally catching up to him. And when it does, the consequences will be seismic. The real genius, the truly Machiavellian stroke, wasn't just the filming, it was the sales pitch. You don't want to be involved with a famous singer? You don't want this video getting out? Here's the price. And they're selling those videos, allegedly, to the very individuals in them. Tommy X, the big movie star, happily married, caught in a compromising situation at a Diddy party? He's got a problem, and Diddy has the solution for a price. This isn't just about sex, drugs, and hip-hop. It's about a shadow economy built on shame and fear. It's about leveraging secrets to control careers, manipulate decisions, and amass power. It's a system where the currency isn't dollars, but dirt. And Diddy allegedly was the banker. Rodney Jones's story is particularly damning. He claims he was promised a Grammy if he engaged in certain acts, a classic quid pro quo. He resisted, and his career went into a tailspin. Paychecks dried up, credits vanished, and his name was blacklisted. His complaints were dismissed with a shrug. Sean will be Sean. As if that explained everything. As if that excused everything. But it doesn't. It exposes a culture of impunity, where Diddy's behavior was not only tolerated but enabled. It suggests a network of complicity, where those who knew what was happening chose to remain silent, either out of fear or out of self-interest. They were all benefiting from the system, so why rock the boat? The contracts are the key. These weren't just standard music deals, they were instruments of control. They gave Diddy the power to dictate everything from royalty splits to public appearances. They silenced dissent and ensured loyalty. If you wanted to play in Diddy's world, you had to play by his rules. Burna Boy's team reportedly fought tooth and nail to retain creative control over Twice as Tall. They knew the price of giving Diddy too much power. They understood the risks of becoming beholden to him. Their resistance is a testament to their integrity, but it also raises questions about what they witnessed behind the scenes. The rumors that Diddy influenced award nominations are particularly troubling. If true, it suggests a level of corruption that goes far beyond mere ego. It implies a systematic effort to control the narrative, to reward those who played along, and punish those who didn't. It's not just about making hits, it's about owning the industry. 50 Cent is relentless on this point. He sees Diddy's mentorship as a facade for control, a way to groom artists and then exploit them. He didn't build careers, he built dependencies. And the evidence seems to back him up. The rapid settlements of the lawsuits are telling. Cassie Ventura's case was resolved within 24 hours, with a payout rumored to be in the 8-figure range. That's not the behavior of someone fighting false claims. That's the behavior of someone trying to bury the truth. Because if the public found out how deep the manipulation went, the entire system would collapse. And that's exactly what seems to be happening now. The foundation is cracking, the walls are crumbling, and the secrets are spilling out. Who else is still trapped in Diddy's web? Burna Boy, Cassie, Lil Rod, they may just be the tip of the iceberg. The real explosion will come when the A-listers, the politicians, the untouchables realize their secrets aren't safe anymore. And when that happens, the fallout won't just be about one man's downfall, it'll be about an entire system built on silence, leverage, and the darkest kind of control. The first cracks are there, but the real earthquake, it's still coming. And it's gonna shake the foundations of Hollywood and beyond. What happens when the fear disappears? That's the question that hangs over this entire saga. For years, Diddy ruled through intimidation, leveraging his power and influence to silence anyone who dared to cross him. But now, with the allegations mounting and the walls closing in, that fear is starting to dissipate. People are realizing that the consequences of speaking out are far less severe than the consequences of remaining silent. Misa Hilton, Diddy's ex and the mother of his oldest son, being approached about her own project, that's not a coincidence. That's a sign that the floodgates are about to open. She holds a unique perspective, a first-hand knowledge of Diddy's world, and her story could be explosive. The revelation that Diddy tried to lure Prince Harry and Prince William to his parties is both audacious and telling. It reveals the scope of his ambition, his desire to infiltrate the highest echelons of power. The royals wisely declined. But the fact that he even tried speaks volumes about his sense of entitlement. Even from behind bars, Diddy's influence lingers. His legal team is already threatening lawsuits, trying to suppress the truth. But their efforts are likely to be in vain. The genie is out of the bottle, and there's no putting it back in. Burna Boy's cryptic social media posts are like coded messages, hinting at a deeper understanding of what was going on. False kings will fall. What did he know? When did he know it? And why is he only speaking out now? Then there's the deleted Instagram story allegedly from Diddy's account. I helped you win your first and only Grammy, and somehow you thought you could win another without my help. Whether it was real or fake, the message resonated. It exposed the transactional nature of Diddy's relationships, the expectation of unwavering loyalty. The documentary's most damning moments aren't the explicit allegations. They're the contradiction. Diddy built his brand on uplifting Black artists, on being the architect of careers. Yet, behind the scenes, former associates describe a culture of fear, a system of control, a pattern of exploitation. One male worker who turned over footage of a 2023 encounter claimed Diddy didn't just watch these private moments, he directed them, ensuring every angle was captured. He treated it like a production. If true, that's a game changer. It transforms Diddy from a participant into a director, from a hedonist into a puppeteer. The feds didn't just raid Diddy's homes to seize substances and footage. They were looking for a ledger of influence, a record of who owed him what. And if they found it, the consequences could be catastrophic. We're not just talking about a hip-hop scandal. We're talking about a power structure that extended into boardrooms, locker rooms, and maybe even the halls of power. Because when you've got recordings of high-profile figures in vulnerable moments, you don't just control their careers, you control their silence. And that's the ultimate weapon. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit described being plied with substances before being coerced into situations she didn't fully comprehend, only to later discover she'd been recorded. Other accusers testified to similar experiences where the line between participation and exploitation blurred under the influence of whatever was in those bottles. If the substance in question was indeed GHB, as 50 Cent and others have speculated, then the idea of consent becomes a legal gray area at best. How do you give clear permission when your memory has been chemically altered? Prosecutors argue that you don't, and that's why the transportation charges stuck. Because this wasn't just about private behavior. It was about moving people across state lines under conditions that made true consent impossible. The system wasn't just predatory. It was allegedly criminal by design. So, who do you think is still hiding in the shadows, waiting for the next scandal to break? Because one thing's for sure, in this story, the truth isn't just stranger than fiction. It's more dangerous. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, keep watching. The best is yet to come.